Schema markup or structured data markup is extra code you add to your website to provide more information about what data is contained on your website's pages. For example, you could add schema to a product page on an e-commerce site, and that schema contains information about the product's price or stock status. Google and other bots will use schema content, or at least some schema code, as part of understanding your website. So it's important to test and validate your website's schema code. You want to make sure it's correct and represents the content on the page accurately. There's a variety of tools you can use to test and validate your website schema. So in this video, I want to step through a few of those tools that you can use to check how your website is using schema and if there's any problems present with how your website is using schema. First up, schema.org has a validator. This is a free tool that you can use. Simply go to validator.schema.org, and then in here, enter in your website URL, and then click Run Test. This will come back with the information about what schema is found. In the case of Elementive's website, it found organization schema. So organization schema is schema you can add that describes the organization. You can tell more information about the organization's name and who's involved in the organization and contact information about the organization as well. So you can go through and look at, in this case, the organization schema and see all the different pieces of information that have been included: the name, the legal name, the URL, the logo, and so on. Now, the first thing you want to do is make sure that all this information is accurate. In the case of organization schema, is the URL or the email address or the physical address or the telephone number, is all of that accurate, or some of that might be out of date? If it's out of date, you want to make sure to update that. The other thing you want to do is make sure that this information is present on the page itself. In a lot of cases, maybe the phone number is only presented in organization schema, but it's not on the page. Google recommends that anything you put in schema should also be present on the page. Doing it in a different way, where you only show something in schema, can sometimes look a little manipulative. So you want to make sure everything in schema is available on the page as well. Now, in this case, we only have one schema type available with organization schema, but you may have multiple types of schema used, in which case you'll see all those types listed here. Now, I like Validator's way of showing this information and presenting this back, but there are other tools that you can use. Google offers a free one called Rich Results Testing Tool. Here again, you go to the Rich Results Testing Tool page, you enter in the URL that you want to test, and then it will test the live URL. And after the test has run, you can see what structured data has been detected. In this case, we do see organization schema has been detected. So if we click on organization schema, we can see more details. In this case, we have one detected item named Elementive, and that's pulling the name from the schema.org's name under organization. In this case, the name is Elementive. And then here again, we can scroll through this to make sure that all this information is accurately presented and that it's present on the page as well. One nice thing about Rich Results Testing Tool is that they will show you missing optional and required fields. In this case, we have a missing optional field called address country. So that's something we could consider adding. Sometimes in Rich Results Testing Tool, you'll also see missing required fields. In this case, it's required to be present in the schema, so that way Google can use it to enhance search result listings. If you see missing required fields, definitely add those in. If you see missing optional fields, strongly consider adding those in. Another way we can test schema markup on our website's pages is within Google Search Console. So in Google Search Console, if you go up to the top bar, you can enter in a URL that you want to inspect. In this case, I've inspected the About page on my website. And then when you run the inspection, you will see more information about what Google has found on the page. You can get different information from here, but what we're interested in right now is the schema code. So under detected items, we can see what's been detected. And in this case, we see that there's a profile page detected, and you can see information about who's on this profile page. We've got information about Matthew Edgar, technical SEO consultant, headshot, and other links to where you can find me on the web. So that information is telling Google something about who this person is. Here again, double check that all this is accurate, that this is presented on the page, and that all required types are present in this schema code. Like Rich Results Testing Tool, this will tell you if there's missing optional or required fields. Now, sometimes you don't have access to Google Search Console, and then you'll try to run something through Rich Results Testing Tool, but you'll get an error. Maybe the website is blocking you from running that URL through Rich Results Testing Tool. The same thing can happen in Validator, where a website might be configured to prevent people from using Validator on that website as a security measure. So in that case, what can we do to find the schema on the website? Well, one of the easiest ways is we can go to DevTools and we can do an inspect and we can look for that code. So after you load a page in Chrome, right-click and go to Inspect. That'll open up the DevTools panel, and by default in DevTools, you'll be on Elements. Elements will show you all the HTML code for this page, and then you can search for schema.org, and you'll see what schema.org comes up. In this case, we have the organization schema here. Now you're looking at the actual code itself. This one's not too bad. You can read through it pretty easily, but sometimes the schema.org code gets really complex, really long, really involved. Can't really read it just by looking at the code. In that case, what you can do is you can copy the code that's in here. Just right-click, go to copy, and then select copy element. And then we can head back over to Validator, and then on the test, we can go to code snippet instead, and we can paste in that element that we just copied out of DevTools. And then we can click run test, and we can see what that schema looks like and what properties are involved in that schema. So it's a good workaround if a website is blocking you from using some of these other tools. If you have questions about schema, or if you're running into problems working with schema on your website, please let me know. I help clients out with schema optimization all the time, both debugging problems that exist within schema, as well as finding new types of schema that might be useful for you to use on your website. So if you'd like help with that, please let me know. You can email me at matthew@elementive.com. If you liked this video and would like to see more like it from Elementive, please subscribe. Thank you for watching.